All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Dumb As Film Students. We're young filmmakers and the like. We come together and give our opinions on Hollywood films, independent films, whatever type of films. But our opinions are unappreciated in Hollywood, which is why we come to YouTube and we spit them off while nobody watches. My name is Rudy Wilson. I'm one of your hosts. I have my guy, Mr. Lonnie Cox, with me. What's up, brother?
What's up, everybody? Good to be here.
Is that a Miami Heat shirt?
Yeah, it's old school though. I'm trying to hide the Adidas logo on it. They switched to Nike like 4 years ago, so I'm trying to hide this old ass shirt.
You're a real fan, man. Day one. Oh, geez.
Oh,
okay.
my God.
Okay.
Who do you think you're talking to, bro?
All right.
Far. That's too far.
Who do you think you're dealing with?
Okay, all right. This is enough. All right, and of course, from far from Miami, Florida, more of an Arizona guy himself, Mr. Daryl D.A. Henry, wants to take over Disney. Wants to take down Walt Disney himself. He's going to dig him up and stump on his bones.
Exactly. No, I have to unfreeze him.
Break into the freezer room, thaw his ass out.
Unfreeze him, right.
Sign everything over to me.
Dope, man. And of course, man, we always have a special guest. And DA, this is a friend of yours who you invited. So why don't you introduce us to her as well as the world?
Hello, everyone. So this is Vanessa. She's a producer. We got our undergrad together, and she actually produced one of my short films that I worked on. She's phenomenal at what she does. She's a hard worker, and one day she wants to go work for Warner Brothers, but I'll let her tell you more about that. Vanessa, say hello to the people.
Hello, what's up? Yeah, one day my goal is to work for Warner Brothers, but to outroll them, like Daryl wants to outroll Disney. Gotcha. I want to have like my own distribution company, but go nonprofit. So that's my goal.
Oh wow, nonprofit. That's nice.
What does that look like? A nonprofit distribution company?
Well, the film industry is going to go nonprofit within the next few years, because if you look at crowdfunding, that is nonprofit. You'll see a lot of the distribution companies coming downhill because, especially like with the economy right now, you know, like one of their biggest money makers is also theaters as well. Theaters aren't open to support movies. Everything's going
digital.
What do you call it? It's more like streaming.
Digital, right.
And then you also have the outlet of crowdfunding, like in order to, you'll have distribution companies supporting streaming movies, but at the same time, a lot of it would be based off of distribution. For me, I don't want a distribution company to tell me the direction of where my films will go, or who's going to direct, or what actors to go forward with. If I'm working with a creative as a producer, and they want me to produce their film, okay, I'm gonna let you have creative freedom when it comes to that. I don't want other people to direct me on how to run the film.
Mm-hmm.
Just on a side note of that, like, she's mentioned crowdfunding. I don't know how I would exactly feel, you know, funding a Spider-Man movie, then going to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that depends, though. I mean, because that's just like if you, I mean, that's even if you give your time to a movie, like as an extra, and you don't get paid nothing. You know what I'm saying? But then you go to watch it. I mean, I'm sure if you donate, I'm sure people can set up a situation where you get to premiere it for free, go to the premiere for free or something like that, where you don't necessarily have to.
They'll also probably put your name in the credits or something like that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like I think you'll probably get looked out for. Now if they just fucking you over and they just like, yo, donate this money and then buy a ticket, then yeah, that's kind of.
Did you guys see the movie? There was the Zach Braff, you know, the guy from Scrubs. He like did the first one of those. He like funded his movie on I think it was GoFundMe, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it, but you couldn't tell that it was any different from a studio film.
Right. Well, I think crowdfunding, as far as like just to fund your own movie, is one thing. But with her speaking on the strength of using crowdfunding to operate a distribution company,
right.
I think is what DA was speaking more to, because that's a totally different ball game. Because now you're always basically raising money to like you're raising money for somebody who's raising money almost, as opposed to like the distribution companies when they had the access to the movie theaters, they had the money, gave it to you, and then just let you feel like you're getting rich off of it, but they're gonna make way more when it's all said and done.
Right.
So, yeah.
I
So
was
go
gonna
ahead.
I was gonna ask, so Vanessa, why don't you tell us some stuff that you're working on now, or I know that you do a lot of stuff with foster care, so.
Right. So I'm working on a couple of different projects. Like I'm working on an anime. I'm also working with some politics out here for the election. And then for myself, I'm working on my foster care documentary. I placed it on hold for a year due to a family tragedy. But right now, everything's set to go where we're going to do a web series to go forward as a documentary. So it's getting picked up. I have a really cool crew and board of producers. So I'm really excited for the direction that we're going.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this. What got you into filmmaking in this whole world in general?
When I was younger, I was always into photography, but I was also a movie junkie. So that was like more of my escape movies. So I decided to just go to school for it.
And when you say escape, what do you mean?
Well, when I was younger, I was a third generation foster kid. So just that was my outlet as my escape to like distract things.
Gotcha.
So now that's what really encouraged me to have like that fire to be a foster care advocate.
And is that what the documentary is going to highlight, I guess, in reference to like your life specifically, or is it just foster care in general?
Right now, the documentary is just on the foster care system. My story will come after that. But what I'm working on right now with the government out here is actually sex trafficking. And also with foster care, because there's a lot of kids that are in foster care that go into prostitution, and then it also leads to an avenue where they go into sex trafficking.
When you say out here, where exactly are you talking about?
Las Vegas. It's one of the top 5 to being the biggest state for sex trafficking.
I can imagine. What what I was gonna say was I think that's actually good, because off the top of my head, I can only think of like 1 or 2, maybe 3 movies that even dealt with like some kids that were in like foster care, which I'm thinking of like Angels in the Outfield, Like Mike, and maybe something else. But it's not that it's right. It's not that many stories of, you know what I'm saying? And even then, it's still it's not like get into the nitty gritty of it. Like they kind of make you feel sorry for them when they don't get the family, whatever, but they don't really show like, I can imagine what's really, just say behind the scenes or whatever. Like it's still kind of a kid's movie. So it's kind of, the blow is kind of softened. I don't know if I've seen Meet the Robinsons. But yeah, but I think that's dope. I think it's needed, because me personally, I enjoy movies that, pull that curtain back, even though it's still a cinematic movie, but you can still see the real, in somebody else's world and their experience.
I think the movie Antoine Fisher was about that, if I'm not mistaken.
Antoine Fisher.
I didn't think he was adopted. I thought he was living with his family, like his
No, I don't think, but I think that still was some type of foster care system he kind of came up in though.
Yeah.
Like the lady he was staying with or whatever. I think she kind of ran like a foster.
I have to rewatch it then.
Yeah.
We need to see it. That's free. That'd be a good one to watch. That's a really good movie. So Vanessa, do you have any I guess like ultimate goals? I know you got the foster care goal that you're pushing, but I guess as in reference to filmmaking as a whole, like do you have anything that connects back to like that escape that you got as a child that you want to be able to provide for people, or do you have like a outside of the things you already named in reference to like distribution company or whatever, but I guess when people watch your films, like do you have a goal of what you want your films to represent, what they get back from it?
Right. So for me, my niche would be foster care. So I do a lot of things for that field as well. So overall, like my overall goal is just to make a difference and shed the light in that community.
Gotcha.
So, and that's through film. So like even like me putting this film on hold, it really pushed me when I just started, like, everywhere I go, I would meet someone that was in foster care. And so just hearing their stories, like I'm talking about daily, like it was like a divine appointment. So I'm like, okay, I got to do this film.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, that's my overall goal, is just to make a difference.
And are you leaning more toward like the producing side of it, or do you want to like write, direct? Like what do you want to do exactly?
I would produce and direct it.
Okay.
But I would have other producers that I have on board to do areas that I can't do as a producer, because my focus would be really directing, but also producing it the way, because we're not getting distribution. It's all crowdfunding that we're doing.
Gotcha. Dope.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. Have you done a documentary before, or would this be your first one as far as shooting it?
I've done a couple of documentaries that I helped work on, that I produced.
Gotcha. And which film was it for you, DA? Was it the makeup one?
No, it was called The Elements. We freezed our ass off in the snow.
Oh my gosh.
In Flagstaff. That's the one I had the wolf on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There was like half wolf and canine dog.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the wolf was just like a scary person's nickname.
No, it was a wolf.
Actual dog creature.
Yeah.
That's one of the actors, we call him the wolf. Like
he's the wolf, bro. Don't fuck with him. Don't knock on his trailer.
Granted, we did have my DP. His name was we called him Wolfgang. That was
gotcha.
So
that was
some people will call him Wolf for short. So we technically had two wolves.
That was him.
True.
You called it, Lonnie.
But the actual wolf on set, he was like warm and fuzzy. He wasn't scary at all.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Was he at least scary on camera? Did he get into character, or did he?
We got a few shots of him looking scary. So I mean,
did he take direction well? Was he a good? Did he come knowing his lines? Was he off book?
His owner or handler was there, and we had to do was take everyone off the set, and it was just me and my DP there, and we would just tell the handler what to make the dog do, and for the most part the dog was great. And then there came this point where he was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go play, or I want to go pee. So
gotcha. That happens.
It does happen. It was like I don't know if you guys ever worked with a kid as a well, I don't think Lonnie is a filmmaker. You're more of a comedian, but I don't know I know Vanessa, since she does a documentary about fosters, and I don't know about Rudy, but working with a child actor is kind of, you have to have this a certain amount of patience.
Yes, you do.
That's dealing with children, whether they're on set or off set. Children will test a level of patience. Look, before I joined the Army, every job I had dealt with kids, and listen to me, I reconsidered a lot in life. I just wanted to like I couldn't even imagine trying to get them to do something on camera, let alone me just trying to get them to sit down in real life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So more power to you, brother.
No, I did this one film where we were filming at nighttime, and we had the child actor there. This is before I knew all the rules. Right. And then there came every night there came a time, I would say about 8:00, she would just start falling asleep on set. I'm like, hey, wake up, splash and walk on.
Oh Jesus, this man going to jail. All right. All right. Well, Vanessa, we're definitely glad to have you. I appreciate you coming. And definitely good luck to all your endeavors. I'll be looking forward to checking it out, seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully even working together.
Definitely.
So we got our 3 movies for this week. We are definitely going to start off with the one that DA picked. Because quite frankly, I hated it. Okay. And that is Fast Color. Okay. Now, before we get started, I thought about this one day when I was in the shower, and I want to start doing this. Before we get started critiquing everybody's movies, and this goes back to the old ones and even this week, I want to congratulate all these filmmakers for getting their movie done and put on the screen, because I understand how hard that is. Okay. You got it done. No matter what we say, you got it done. Okay. Now, with that being said, now we got Fast Color. It's directed by Julia Hart, starring Gugu Mbatha-Raw. Hopefully I said that right. And yeah, so I guess for starters, is there anybody with me who did not like this movie?
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't love it.
Daryl?
I can just stay on the like side since I chose it.
You don't have to. I mean, it's okay. If you don't like it, brother, please.
I want there to be, like I said earlier.
I understand you want to be a back and forth, but before we get to that, did you like it in real life?
It was all right. It was okay.
Okay. You think it was okay? Okay. Well, we'll start with, I guess. Vanessa, you go ahead. You give me your feedback on this and why you did not like this.
Okay, so it was like a little slow paced for me, but the storyline was really good. I really like how they shot the film, but it's just, for me, it was just a little slow paced for me.
What was the storyline? Can somebody help me with that? What was?
So I actually thought they did a decent job of like establishing the universe that they lived in.
Right.
You know, that it hadn't rained in, a certain amount of years. I always like there's something about a dystopian future in the Midwest that really does it for me. I don't know why, but like I like that, where they show the farms that are not. There's like a lot of movies that do that, like Looper, Interstellar. There's a lot of movies that show the dystopian future in a Midwestern setting. Mm-hmm. I like that, and then they have this power.
But what was the storyline? Is my question.
So, yeah, I don't know if this was necessarily a narrative-driven film.
So I felt like the story was her trying to get her abilities under control. That was her whole goal for me. At least that's what I was understanding. Because at the end of the movie, what happened? She was able to control her powers and colors.
But what was that up against besides the fact her not seeing her kid? Like I'm not saying not seeing her kid isn't a big thing, but I'm saying,
well, who was the antagonist?
Just what was she up against besides for one, what was the purpose of water not existing? Like if they had running water, would that have changed the story in any type of way that I'm missing?
Well, that was what was making the world like collapse, was that there was no more water.
Yeah, and then that's also why she was being hunted, because she could cause earthquakes, which I assume would shake the plates. And
well, what she could do is control the earth. Like she could control the weather, and she, at the end of the movie, she makes it rain. So she can do really a lot of things.
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry.
It kind of seemed like she was like Mother Nature, but it also seemed like they referenced Supernatural, because like in the storyline, when you like look it up, it also says that she has like supernatural powers. So for me, like when I looked at the film, I kind of saw like that old TV show, Clarksville. That they referenced of Superman, and then also
Smallville.
Supernatural.
Smallville.
Oh yeah, Smallville, not Clarksville. Sorry, his name's Clark. Yeah.
What you can also take from it is, it's like think about the superhero Storm before she actually knew how to control her powers. That's pretty much what it felt.
And that's another thing she was up against, Rudy, was like herself. Like she couldn't, she almost killed her daughter. I don't know if you caught that part where she almost drowned the baby because she couldn't control her power. So she's like up against the government. She's up against herself while trying to keep her daughter.
I'm saying all these things y'all are naming, I've seen them happening. I'm just saying, as an entire film, I didn't make a connection of how all of this stuff from start to finish was like, here's the protagonist, this is their story, this is what they're up against. Like I never got that. Like I just kept seeing stuff happened, and they're talking about, I never got the metaphor of the colors. Like, what did it mean to see the colors? Like, why was that such a big thing? You feel what I'm saying? Like, even like for me, like with the movie The Color Purple, I've seen it. I still don't know why it's called The Color Purple. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the movie, but I'm saying in reference to, and I'm not saying that the title has to match, but they made this color thing a big deal. I mean, they was lighting it up in the sky when she finally seen it. Like, it was a whole thing. And even her, this chase that she was on, like, I never felt like her life was really in danger. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think
the scientist guy was like not menacing at all.
She barely had to put up a fight to get out the car the first time when he got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't, you know, I don't know. It took me 4 different times to watch this movie. Not that I turned it off each time, but there was just always something that got my attention, and I was just like,
it wasn't a very intriguing film very much. I think the colors represented them being black, to be honest. Like, it was like black girl magic, you know, their the way they lived in the world. I mean, they live in the Midwest. It's not a place where black people really live. You know, I think that was done on purpose. The colors, you know, people that see the colors are like, you know, that we don't have them here. If they do, you got to hide it.
And I think that's a big thing, that for generations, they were hiding at that house. That house basically was this.
But okay, but before you keep going, but why were they hiding? Like, why were they hiding? Because they were hiding because they had seizures. Like, that was their.
No, they didn't all have seizures.
But that was their thing. Like, that was the reason why she had to.
I think just Gugu had seizures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she said the little girl had something too, just not as bad.
That was like the powers that all of the women in that family have, and she was like, she has it, but not the same way you do.
Because the thing about Google was she was able to break the sky. They were able to break things apart and put them back together, but they can never put something that was already broken back together. But Google, she was able to break the sky and put it back together, which caused it to rain. Now, I will say it was very anticlimactic because when she was like, I'm going to go get my daughter, I'm thinking in my head, bodies are about to be blown apart, pieces, blood everywhere. But this girl goes over there and just makes it rain. I was like, what? What are you doing to me? I guess the only cool part about the climax was the mom actually breaking the granddaughter out of prison, because she and the way I felt about it, or the way I thought about it, was they had to see what they were tearing apart, but she wasn't looking at anything. She just knew the doors. Boom, broke it.
This feels like one of those films that a lot of people passed on, besides the people who actually did it, because like I can imagine reading this script and just not understanding it. Like, because like when you get into the depths of it, and there's somebody who does understand, like DA, who's kind of breaking it down, like things start to make sense. But as I'm watching this, I don't get none of this. None of this comes to me at all. I'm literally just like, what is happening? Like, what is really happening right now in front of my eyes?
It also wasn't very like grabbing or interesting, to be honest. I mean, I was doing work, you know, like to keep me interested and like involved in the story. It was work, and I don't really like a movie that makes me work that hard, you know.
I would definitely agree with Vanessa in saying that it was very slow. But I will say this, because for the most part, I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was okay. Because yes, it was slow, but when the cool parts were happening, or the intriguing parts were happening, I was there. I was like, oh wow, cool, all right, yeah, you know, let's do this.
What was the intriguing part?
All the parts with the magic.
So for me, I'm like a huge person on visual effects and motion graphics. I thought it was pretty cool what they did.
Mm-hmm.
The last 5 shots of when she took off with her daughter, I like how when the mom looked at the sky and the sky showed like all the colors and then it disappeared. That was a pretty cool ending moment.
That was a cool effect. I like the color effect. It was very
especially cool. Like all the rain and the water effects were pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
However, their box office price will show you.
It's because it was so slow.
Yeah.
So slow.
You know, I'm a big believer in I really don't mind when a movie is slow as long as it's interesting. You know, like I can sink into a slow movie. That's not my problem at all. But this, like Roma was not a fast-paced movie.
Right.
I disagree though. But, I mean, only because if you compare this movie to another similar movie, which kind of same pace with action, No Country for Old Men. It's slow, but those intriguing moments, they're very captivating, and they keep you on the edge of your seat wanting to.
Yeah. What I'm saying is this movie didn't have that. Like this movie, there was no payoff for the slow burn.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
I'm gonna say that's exactly what Lana was saying. Like, No Country for Old Men had, no matter how slow it was, like you still felt something when you were watching the scene. You know what I'm saying? Like
it was nuanced. It was interesting. Right. You're interested in the performances, the scenery, the way it's shot, all that stuff.
Yeah, this one I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what was happening. Like
I didn't understand the scientist. The scientist was kind of just a
all
weird
of that
guy to me. I thought as soon as I saw him and he started talking to her, I was like, "Is this guy gonna rape her?"
Yeah, I knew it was something bad for sure.
You know, just to give you guys an example, I watched this movie, like, to what I'm talking about, I watched this movie 2 days ago, and I'm struggling to, like, remember. I have a really good memory for movies, and I'm, like, struggling to, like, remember what happened even, really, you know?
My first time watching it was last Saturday when DA first mentioned it, and it took me an additional 3 days, including today, to finish it.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's still slow pace.
Yeah.
The first 40 minutes was like I accidentally hit my remote and saw that I was only 40 minutes in. I was like, God damn.
And it's not that long of a movie. That's the crazy thing about it.
It's like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah. And I remember literally like touching my screen to see how much longer was left. I'm like, yo, this is not over with yet. Like, I kept checking the time. I'm like, yo, this movie is. I just didn't like it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love that actress, Gugu. I've seen her in other things. I just didn't like this film.
The mom is also a very good actor.
I was going to say, even the child. I mean, all of their performance. It wasn't the performances of the people. It wasn't the actors that didn't do it for me. I just did not like this movie.
They did a lot with what they had. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It was very indie. I would say that it was very, very indie film.
I feel like whatever point they were trying to make, I think it was a good point. They just missed the mark on how to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like I really think what they were going after is deep. I think it touched, like I said, as you were explaining, DA, like I started putting things together. Like, okay, I see how that makes sense. But me just watching it, like if it was not for us talking on this podcast, I would have never thought about Fast Color again to even try to figure out what I watched. I would have just been like, okay, well, I missed it, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, like you said, Lana, if you got to work that hard, I think to a certain degree, like I don't mind working, but like if you make somebody work that hard and everybody's just missing it like that, I think as a filmmaker you kind of fail. You know what I'm saying?
The Godfather makes you work, but it's the fucking Godfather. You know, like when you get there's going to be a nice hunk of cheese at the end of the mace. Right. You know,
hunk of cheese. Right. Okay. But does anybody else have anything else for Fast Color? Gotcha. So, all right.
I have a question. What has Gugu been in other movies?
Yes. My first thing I ever seen her in was called Beyond the Lights. She was in it with Nate. What's his name? Nate Parker. Nate, the guy who did the slave movie, Killing the White People. Nat Turner.
Okay.
Nate Parker, I guess. Yeah, but she was like a music artist. That was a really good movie. She was like a music artist. He was like the security or whatever, and you know, it became like a love story. You know, she wanted to commit suicide because the fame was whatever. Her mom was like her manager. It was a good movie. And then she also did. Other thing I've seen her in was she was Will Smith's wife in the Concussion. In Concussion.
Right.
And I've seen her in like one more thing. I can't think of it right now. I have to look up her resume.
Tell the truth.
Right. Yeah. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
I ain't gonna lie, that movie made me look at football differently. I was done playing by then, but it was pretty harsh.
Oh, I would never let my kid play.
Never. All right, so the next movie, much better movie. I actually enjoyed this one very much. So, The Hustle, directed by Chris Addison, starring Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. Anybody on the side of not liking The Hustle?
I'm gonna go not liking. I do enjoy the film, but I'll explain why I'll be on this side.
Okay. And what about you, DA? You just flat out just don't like it?
No. It was I thought it was great payoff and whatnot. I thought it was the once again the moments where it was entertaining. It did entertain me, but yeah.
I mean, you can just go ahead. I mean, you got the floor. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. All right. For this one, I did feel like this one was slow as well. And you guys are looking at me like, "Oh, really?"
I didn't think it was slow at all.
I don't know. I saw it and then I was just like, "Okay, what are we getting at here?" And then it just wasn't moving fast enough for me. That's all, in all honesty. And then what I did like about it was the twist at the end where the guy was actually hustling them.
A con artist, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But I kind of felt like it was just a little too long. That's really all that felt like.
Did any of you guys have you ever seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels? Have any of you ever seen that movie?
Mm-hmm. I think I have.
Yeah, so that movie is like a classic comedy with Michael Caine and Steve Martin, who are like two of the best actors of all time.
I like Steve Martin, yeah.
Yeah, and Michael Caine is also, Michael Caine is Anne Hathaway and Steve Martin is the Rebel Wilson character, the like bumbling American,
for sure.
con man.
Right.
For sure. And for me, it's hard for me to watch this movie without comparing it to the original. Right. And comparing anything to the original movie is not gonna happen. You're just not gonna make a movie that's as good as Steve Martin and Michael Caine being funny. But that being said, this movie made me laugh a lot. Like there was some good fucking laughs in this movie.
Yeah.
Rebel Wilson is a fucking force. She is very, very funny to me.
See, I would have to see. I think that was the problem for me. I didn't really like Rebel Wilson in this. I thought she played the same role that she always does, and it was kind of like
But that's not even the same role that she always does. That role is a typecast. Like her, Melissa McCarthy, Amy Schumer, like they're gonna get those roles. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying which was surprising to me when Anne Hathaway was the Meryl Streep of the Devil Wears Prada in this situation. Like, 'cause she's normally the slim little, whatever girl who's trying to play catch up. You know what I'm saying? Right. But she was on the other end, the more high class dominant one, which was a different look. I had never seen her in that role. You know what I'm saying? The one being the teacher, I guess, as opposed to the pupil or whatever. But to your point, the role that Rebel Wilson played, DA, is I think it's not only typecasted to her. I think that slot has just been slotted for those comedians.
But it's also sad though, because I'm pretty sure she has a lot more range than just this specific role.
But you think about it like this, and I totally agree with you. But just to play devil's advocate, you think about it like this: like if you're in Hollywood, you're making decisions about casting, producing, whatever, right? Let's just say, like, I see Lonnie in a movie, and like Lonnie just made his first movie ever made $100 million with him, being some funny lumberjack that ate pancakes, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guarantee the next at least minimum 3 roles that's going to be offered at Lonnie. He is going to be that character. They're going to find a way for him to eat pancakes, cut down trees, whatever, be that lumberjack, because that is what made people like him in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of but what I'm saying is, so it turns into that sad case because on the production side of it, I'm like, yo, this person is hot. Everybody loves them for this. Let me duplicate what they love them for and then they can worry about if they want to go other roles in their career. I let them figure it out on their own. But as far as like me here right now, let's make another $100 million with you doing that exactly what you did. Even,
some actors get their personality is what gets them their love, right? So you've got a guy like Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn is Vince Vaughn in this scenario, and then in this movie, it's Vince Vaughn in this scenario.
Robert Downey Jr.
You have somebody like Gary Oldman who sinks into that role,
right?
And definitely somebody like Rebel Wilson. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see her in this new situation.
Right. Robert Downey Jr. is pretty much the same, except for when he was in Tropic Thunder, and he had to imitate a black man.
But there you could see how good of an actor he is.
Right. Right. But I'm saying, but they always
somebody like Ryan Reynolds also comes to mind. Reynolds.
I'm saying just like Vince Vaughn, they give him that fast talking, you know what I'm saying, type of character, like all the time, no matter what the situation is, all the time.
Oh, but I mean, if you look at The Soloist, I mean, he wasn't playing that kind of fast talking person in The Soloist.
No, we're talking about Vince Vaughn now.
Oh, I thought we were still. Well, I heard the switch over, but I was still talking about.
Well, I mean, even in The Soloist or even in, Tropic Thunder, like I said, I'm making the point that that Robert Downey Jr. has one or two movies where he was able to switch a little bit, but I'm saying who he is as Iron Man, that same asshole or whatever, like he plays that a lot, even outside of Iron Man.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like he does. But Vanessa, go ahead. What you think about The Hustle? I know this is the movie that you chose.
Okay, so Rebel is one of my favorite actresses. I don't care what any of y'all say. She's one of my favorite. I would like to see her in her career though, play like some type of dramatic movie, but it would be hard for me to bust up because she's a funny character. I would like to be in a movie with her one day because I'm goofy like her. But overall, I did like the storyline because it had like twist after twist and it was funny. I do agree with all of y'all that it is a little slow paced. However, a couple of my favorite funny scenes were when she wore in the beginning the black dress and when the cops were looking for her.
She hid in the trash.
And then at the end, I like how they repeated the scene where all of them were together doing the same scam and whatnot. And then she went to go hide in the Christmas tree, or no, the Christmas presents with the old dress. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
I think Rebel Wilson did do one dramatic movie. Was she in Vice? She was in one of those movies. She was in some drama. Rudy, can you look it up in your?
Yeah.
I thought she did do a dramatic role pretty recently.
I haven't seen it, maybe. But I mean like a tearjerker movie. Like a movie that will make you pissed off. Like
Rebel Wilson is an attorney. She's a very intelligent person. I definitely think she's got chops.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
And out of all the movies that you guys chose today, this made more in box office.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. No,
not even a question.
With Anne Hathaway, who's not going to go see it?
I mean, it's Anne Hathaway. It's like it's an A production. This is like a real film studio. Real film studios are behind this one. You're not gonna take Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and then not have a high end production.
Right.
I definitely recommend you guys watch Dirty Rotten Scoundrels eventually once you get a chance. I actually think this movie works better because in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels they're men that are conning rich women, and here they're women that are conning rich men. So I definitely think that dynamic makes a little bit more sense.
Right, for sure.
And to see Anne Hathaway like being this fucking like shark that was very cool to me. I like her a lot. Also, I like Anne Hathaway.
The only movie I can see that might have been serious that she was in looks like either Pain and Gain or or
that's
Jojo Rabbit or Jojo Rabbit. That's like,
oh my God, that's right. She is in Jojo Rabbit. Have you guys seen Jojo Rabbit?
She was still playing kind of.
I've read the script, but I haven't.
Dude, Jojo Rabbit is one of my favorite movies of all time. She kills it in that movie.
I can imagine.
So good.
I can imagine it's good because it was good when I read the script. Like it was, I was intrigued just reading the script, the screenplay.
Oh,
yeah.
DA and Vanessa, you haven't seen it?
No, I definitely seen it. I love it.
Oh, so good.
Especially,
as a Jew to watch that movie, it was very special to me.
Right, for sure.
especially the
Right.
moment where he saw his mom. That was. I'm trying
The
not.
whole
I'm
movie
trying
leading
not
up to
to
it. Don't
spoil
give it
it.
away. Don't
Yeah,
give it
but
away.
But that, like I said, it has to be one of those two because everything else is like the Pitch Perfect 1, 2, 3, Isn't It Romantic, Bridesmaids, How to Be
the
Single,
third
Cats.
perfect.
Yeah.
What's Pain and Gain is the one with Mark Wahlberg, right? Where he's the
And The Rock, yeah.
yeah. It's funny. One of my good buddies' dads was a private investigator that worked that case in real life.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So like I said, well, just to be clear, I want to make it be clear. I never said that The Hustle was slow. I didn't think it was slow at all.
I didn't think it's slow either.
I thought this was a pretty entertaining movie.
Yes.
I did think if my only negative is I did have the same thought as DA in reference to the typecast that they gave Rebel Wilson, especially because Anne Hathaway played such the contrary to her normal character. So I felt like if they gave her the contrary, like something else could have been whatever. But I think they tried to keep it balanced when they allowed her to still get the guy at the end. You know what I'm saying? Just to make it not seem like, she's just the comedic relief that can't, pull a guy type thing or whatever. So I think they kept it pretty balanced. And she does well at that role. I mean, it's kind of like trying to put Tiffany Haddish doing something else. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, that's what people like them for. Even, Kevin Hart or whatever, like, even though he's a good actor or whatever, but he's still, I think I explained this before, even somebody, a Denzel Washington or whatever, like, everybody has something about them. Most actors have something about them that you're going to always see every time they're on camera.
Sure.
Some are just more animated than others.
But I mean, I think the reason people went to go see this movie was not Anne Hathaway. It was to see Rebel Wilson in this situation.
Yeah. I think it was probably a good dynamic of both. I mean, I think especially because people know it was going to be a comedy, they definitely came to see Rebel Wilson for sure. Like,
I would have loved to have seen it the opposite, to be honest. I would have loved to have seen Rebel Wilson in the Anne Hathaway character.
And honestly, both of them are talented enough; they would have pulled it off.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a more interesting film for sure.
Yeah,
that would have been a funny movie.
Yeah. But I guess with this dynamic, since both of them normally play the lesser role, one of them had to, I guess, still be the lesser role. When I say lesser, I'm saying like the dumb person, the person who's not looked highly upon, like just the comedic relief, just kind of just doing stuff, while the other one is kind of the the sensei. I'll teach you how to whatever type thing. So,
but I think that Rebel Wilson being that, like the one that has, $20-something million that she's stolen and teaching Anne Hathaway, who is Anne Hathaway,
For sure.
I don't know. I thought that would have been funny.
No, that's what I'm saying. I agree, but I'm saying I think I don't know who made the decision, but I think being the fact that one of them had to still be that role, I think they just would prefer Rebel Wilson over Anne Hathaway and just let Anne Hathaway be the more prissy one or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But between the two, even though I totally agree with you, but I think that's just another Hollywood decision that they had to make. So
they don't take risks anymore.
Right. So anything else for The Hustle? Anything else for The Hustle?
No.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like I said, even just the performances and everything, I thought the performance, even the guy, which I knew, I definitely knew he was playing them, especially when she was no longer blind. He was just like, oh wow, you can really see, like that, but I still think it was good though. I really enjoyed I didn't go into it any expectations, but once it was all said and done, I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was dope. It was a good time. All right, so last but not least, Woman Thou Art Loose, directed by Michael Schultz, starring Kimberly Elise and Loretta Devine. I will say this is a movie I've seen. Last time I seen this movie was probably when it came out in 2004 when I was a child. And I remember being scared shitless of this movie. Like it was pretty heavy when I was a kid. Like I remember seeing this and saying, I don't ever want to see this movie again. Like this was heavy. But then coming back and watching it as an adult, I appreciated it a lot more, especially with the topic of discussion when it deals with, just the cases in reference to child rapes and molestations and stuff like that. I definitely didn't see that as a kid. I seen the rape scene, but I didn't see the message. I was just scared. Like I seen this chick in this dark cell talking to Bishop T.D. Jakes, and somebody getting shot in church. And it was just a lot, you know what I'm saying, as a kid. But like I said, growing up now, I think I appreciated it more. So my feelings towards it changed a little bit. So I guess going in the voting realm, I'll be on the side of liking it. Is there anybody who disliked it?
I didn't like it.
Did not like it. Did not like it.
I mean,
What
I
about you?
liked it. I liked the whole, like, how they shot the film and the storyline and all that. But because I work with kids that has had things like that happen to them, it was kind of hard for me to watch it more as an adult than when I was a kid, because I did see it when I was a kid. And
you seen this movie when you was a kid?
yeah,
Okay,
so
got you.
when me rewatching it, I was like, whoa. So I had to keep putting it on pause because it triggered some stuff. So yeah.
It's heavy. It's definitely heavy.
Sure
Like
is.
it's heavy. It's heavy as shit. But real quick before you go, Lonnie, what side were you on, DA?
Oh, I was going on the like it side.
Like it. Okay. Go ahead, Lonnie. What you got?
I think the writing was a little cheesy, to be honest. I think some of the dialogue didn't really ring true to me. But that being said, this movie was made in 2004, 16 years ago, and is talking about things that we're like dealing with right now. The part of the movie that I think was the most intriguing to me and the most interesting was, I couldn't help but think, I didn't get to finish the movie. I there's still about 15 minutes left, but I do know what happens. I know that she is killed by the state. Her death penalty is like followed through. And I guarantee you right now, if you turn on Lifetime Movie Network, you would find a movie where a white woman is either beaten or raped by her husband. She murders her husband and is set free. So that really was like, oh, right. So she's black, so she's going to get killed. So she doesn't have any, she's not allowed to like defend herself. She's not allowed to like do anything that a white woman would be able to do. This is a thing that happens, right? Sex traffickers, they get killed by the women that they hold hostage. And these women have been sitting in prison for, 20 something years that, Kanye West, that was one of the things he just did, right? Was he got one of those girls,
right,
her sentence commuted. So that was definitely a cool, the fact that it was so relevant now was interesting to me. But the movie was a little like overacted. The mom character was a little like everybody was a cartoon basically of themselves. It didn't seem grounded in reality. And then when I dug a little deeper, I found out that it's not based on a true story. And I was like, okay, that makes sense to me, that this is just like a creation of things that do happen. Don't get me wrong, but
I mean, it's just like the movie Precious. Like, I don't know if you've seen Precious, but Precious isn't a real person. That's not, it's just.
But Precious rings true to me, man. Like Precious, that movie, like, Monique in that movie, that was a real person to me. That did not that wasn't like a caricature.
Right, but I think that's because of the angle. Because see, for me, not that my mom was like either of these mothers at all, but I guess coming from the church angle, me growing up and also growing up in black church, like I know those mothers exist in reference to, like, being at church, being very active, whatever like that. But definitely, and I'm not saying I don't know if kids got molested or not, but I'm saying definitely got, like, the boyfriends in the house, the Uncle Reggies, and even being too old to even be still doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like way past the age of still doing it, but feeling unwanted or whatever like that. So to me, and this doesn't necessarily have to deal with performances or whatever, but I'm saying in reference to the characters, to me, I as an adult, because once again, as a child, this movie just terrified me. So I didn't catch any of this. But as an adult, to me, like, I kind of respected it more because I know that definitely exists. Whether it results in the child being hurt or not, in physically hurt or sexually hurt, I know that breaking the relationship and calling, your parent by their first name from the time you were a child all the way through, adult, like all of that stuff. Like, I know people who are in that situation currently, like who are adults now, but who grew up with that same circumstance.
That is the part. I mean, that's the part of the movie that I like. The parts of it that are real are the parts of the movie I enjoyed. But like, just to give you an example, like the pimp, the pimp character, he's like standing outside on a pole. He looks like it's like 1974. And I'm like, dude, pimps don't wear a suit with a hat in Atlanta in 2005. That's just not real, bro. That's like a character.
Well, no. As far as the street stuff, for sure, because whoever wrote the street stuff, you can even tell by the lingo, like they were, like somebody taught them to say, "I'm not trying to get wet no more," and whatever.
Right.
You can. What is it? 1984?
Right. What are you talking about?
Right.
Like pull out a knife? Like
right.
Like I should cut you. Like nobody talks that way anymore, dude. Like
maybe kind of did defend the movie. I think they played on actually exaggerating it a little bit, because they had moments in there where they kind of did it with film or the editing style or the shooting style, where especially when they were I think they were getting when she was getting beat up by the pimp. She was getting beat up, and then the best friend came, or the friend of the movie came, and she came over and started beating him with a bat or whatever she had. But that kind of was exaggerated, and I think, and even if you look at the prison, the lighting exaggerated. These are all technical things, but it's still exaggerated to a point to kind of help tell that story, because it wasn't true or anything, but they were I think they were playing off the fact that this is exaggerated, and they were trying to really just hit the point, I guess.
Sure. I mean, the metaphor with the house, that was very like, here is our message. It wasn't, it wasn't coded in there was no nuance or anything like that. I don't need nuance. I can do like an in-your-face metaphor, but I don't know. I guess this movie is also probably a product of its time. If they made this movie more recently, it would probably focus more on the things that I want it to focus on, which are the relationship with her mother, the relationship with Uncle Reggie, who I thought was cast very well. I think that guy's name is Clifton Powell.
Clifton Powell. Mm-hmm.
That guy.
That's Pinky. That's Pinky from Next Friday, and
dude, he oozes sleaze to me. Like that character. That he's from he's in Norbit also. He's just like a dick. Fucking like that. You can see it in his face. Like the second he came in, I was like, this guy is fucking not. Not up to no good. So. There were aspects of this movie I definitely thought were well done, but it didn't really I wanted it to focus more on the injustice of her being, on trial for basically being black. If she were white, that would never have gotten that far. I think that.
I think it's something deeper than that. But before I say that, I'm gonna let Vanessa go, because I know she was trying to say something earlier.
No, I'm good. But what I was going to say was, as far as refilming the film, I think that someone should create another film because of everything that's going on in today's world. I think that will tie in with foster care, with racism, and you never know, someone might recreate that.
And also, you guys can clarify this for me. Obviously, I haven't spent, I'm born Jewish. I think I went to church once in my entire life. Was what were they trying to highlight the mother's hypocrisy? Was that kind of the point? Was that
so to answer your question, yes, and that's another thing I was going to answer, because I don't know if you know who Bishop T.D. Jakes is, but he the pastor who was preaching and visiting her in jail.
I know it was really him.
Well, but do you know who he is though? Yes, so he's a humongous, very, very famous pastor, and considered, for lack of better terms, one of the good ones. And I say that just as a broad statement, because not to get too deep, but I know a lot of pastors get a lot of stigmas, especially on his level.
Sure, but he's not buying private jets and shit like that.
Correct, and right, he anything that he does, we'll get into that later, but he's considered respected even by people who may not care about church that much. But so he was a part of this movie, and he, you know, back when he's also made other films. I don't know if you ever seen like Jump in the Room or whatever, but in his films, like he will allow the realness of whatever the reality is come forth. So like Jump in the Room is more or less about Paula Patton. Like she basically is like
The wedding.
Yeah, she's basically like a hoe, and so basically she makes this promise to God, like, you know, if you help me find the man of my dreams who will stop like sleeping with me and leaving, I'll, you know, save my, you know, abstinence or whatever to marriage, whatever. So it's this whole thing or whatever. And so it's a funny comedy and whatever like that, but it also preaches on, you know, abstinence without saying abstinence. Like we're gonna let her be, you know, sexual, whatever like that, but then let her pull back so that everybody gets it. So what I'm saying is like he's gonna do something, but he's not gonna try to make it too churchy. And if there is a church issue, he's not afraid to point it out. So yes, going back to the mother, her hypocrisy, that was one thing, but also the dialogue between him and Kimberly, at least when she was in jail and building the house, like those were the most important parts because they were showing the answer of how like the preacher is trying to give somebody hope who basically doesn't, you know, like they're getting ready to die. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting put on death row for a murder that she committed that some could say she was justified for. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, but he as a preacher, like he still has to go in there and either provide her some type of comfort or hope, even as she's constantly rejecting him. And those are real situations that a lot of people don't see, because when preachers or whatever go into hospital, and this is not about highlighting the preacher, this is highlighting that conversation. Like, you're a preacher, God loves you, you got a nice house, your family okay. I'm the one on death row. I'm the one who just killed somebody. You feel what I'm saying? So like, what can you really tell me in this moment to make me feel like everything is going to be okay? Like God is going to save me in this moment. And I think that back and forth that they constantly had, him saying something and her saying something, it's easy for you to say, but whatever. Like, to me, I thought that was very important, especially, like I said, growing up in church. And not that it has to make me very religious or whatever, but I've seen those dynamics happen. And once again, for me, I always talk about it, pulling the curtain back and showing that, whether it was missed or caught onto or whatever, but I definitely missed it as a child because I was afraid. But as an adult, like when I was watching those scenes, I thought that was very important because it didn't make it seem like the preacher could just come in, say anything, and everything is okay. Like sometimes he's going to go see somebody who does end up getting killed on death row. Like it's not a magic wand that he's waving. Like, you know, like and another important thing. Like he even said, like, you were so close. Like she was literally at the front of the church. She was getting ready to lay the dress down, you know, that she had been raped, and like she was getting ready to let go of this whole burden. And right when she was ready to finally let it go, the man who did her wrong as a kid was standing right there, and she could not get past it. So like her being, you know, at the altar or whatever, like that was supposed to be her representation of finally being free. And right there at the finish line, she couldn't even cross over because this man showed her, and she just could not let it go. And that was her first time seeing him, you know, since whatever. And so, so to me, I thought all of that was important because in church, a lot of people think that just because you went to church, the preacher went and, you know, prayed for your grandma in the hospital, that means she's not gonna die. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not the savior. You know what I'm saying? He's still a man at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And to me, just from that aspect, I thought that was pretty deep for me.
Another thing about this movie is I really enjoyed the monologue that they had from each character's perspective. You know, that when they were all. That's another reason why I say it was exaggerated. They played on that exaggeration because they had, especially this fucked up mom, when she was giving her whole monologue. What am I supposed to just not in? Basically saying, am I not supposed to be satisfied as a person just because he did this? I was like, what? What kind of mother are you?
But those
she says, she's like, did I put him over her? No. Did I put her over him? No. Right. Did I put me over both of them?
Both of
Absolutely.
them, right, exactly.
I think those monologues really, I don't know, for me, they really brought the story to life because they were well placed, and then they weren't. I don't know. They were kind of poetic in a way. If you actually listen to them, they were kind of very poetic.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, like I said, I enjoyed it much more than I did when as a kid. I mean, I didn't go away walking away thinking this was my favorite movie in the world, but I respected it much more. It was still pretty heavy. I was able to deal with it better now, but because I don't know if y'all ever seen For Color Girls. That's another very heavy movie. Another one that's hard to watch. Yeah, no, I'm not. But I think nonetheless, like I said, I think it's one of those that Woman That Are Loose is kind of one of those. It's kind of like the beach bum of like the black church world. You know what I'm saying? Like if you kind of how Chris, he knows that world, so like he sees something in that we've never seen. You know what I'm saying? And I think that this type of movie is that same thing. Like it's not a real churchy one, but it does have that angle that I think coming from that world, I just think that you just kind of see it differently. So
what a I guess eventful 3 days. I would say that I mean this movie is supposed to take place in 3 days, and I just felt like God, this girl is having a rough 3 days.
It was a lot. It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. But yeah. Nonetheless, so between Fast Color, The Hustle, and Woman Thou Art Loose, does anybody have anything else directed towards these films that we did not already cover?
Go watch Fast Color, guys. It's an okay movie if you can just get through it. I'm talking to the audience, not you guys. You guys.
I'm aware. I was trying to figure out if I was going to back you up or not, but I decided not to.
It's okay. You know.
I decided not to. Gotcha. All right, so real quickly, it seems like Vanessa already looked up all the box office numbers, so I guess you've disqualified yourself out of this game. But for you other two, I did not find the budget for Fast Color at all. They had that hidden, but I do have the box office number. So what do you guys think?
I already know how much. I already know.
All right, so what do you think, Lonnie?
Oh, I'm gonna say less than $1 million.
Well, that's
okay. It's definitely less than $1 million. But what? Give me a number more specific.
Oh, maybe even something like less than 100,000. I mean,
give me something more specific. Like what? Just like say
$80,000. $80,000.
You like
pretty good.
You like
76, 916. Yeah.
Oh shit! You know what? That's the Jew in me. You're welcome. You're welcome, ancestors. I did it.
All right. So then for The Hustle, do you know these numbers as well, Daryl?
No, I didn't look this up.
All right. So for what do you guys think the budget was for The Hustle? First of all.
Oof.
Do you know this number as well, Vanessa? The budget?
Yeah.
Oh, you know everything. Okay. All right. So DA and Lonnie.
I'm gonna say 25 million was the budget.
25 million. All right. And then what you got?
Yeah, I was gonna say somewhere between 10 and 15.
10 and 15. Which one do you want to go? You want to go with 10 or 15?
But I'm trying to think about. I'm gonna just stick with 15.
15. All right. It was 21 million. So you guys were kind of split, but I guess Lonnie, you technically lost because you were over.
Yeah.
This is fucking Price is Right.
Price is Right, baby. You know how this goes. All right, and then so for you two, what do you think it made in the box office?
It's money back. So
you said it definitely did, DA?
I said it had to, but question: where was it released exactly? Like, was it released in America and also overseas?
It's a regular release, man. Just throw out a number.
Throw
out a number. It's a regular release, man. I'm sure it got worldwide release.
I'm gonna go with 53,000, Drew.
53,000.
53,000. Vanessa said I'm wrong, so it's all right.
I'm saying, you listen to what you're saying. You're saying 1,000.
I'm sorry, million. I'm sorry, million.
Right, and Vanessa, don't give the answer away pre. We gotta wait for both of them to answer. But
I'm gonna say 41 million. $41
41, and you're still sticking with 53 million?
No, million, not billion.
That's what I said. That's what I said, million. You still sticking with 53 million?
But yeah.
Gotcha. Now, it made $97.9 million.
Wow.
It's a lot of money.
That's 2 for Darrow.
Well, I mean, you were way off though this time. You don't get
No,
that. you don't get that one. I mean, last time y'all were at least close. That was way off.
And I was
first of all, you said 1,000. You said 1,000, so you were way off.
Hold on. I just had a slip up there. You said 90 what?
97.9.
97. So practically 100 million.
Mhm.
Right. And then for Women Die Are Loose, what do you think the budget was, DA and Lonnie?
I'm gonna go with like 5 million.
5 million? What you got?
I'm gonna say the budget was. I'm gonna say 800,000.
Disrespectful. You're so disrespectful.
Is it? I don't know. You guys are in the film industry. I don't know what shit is like.
No, it was 3 million. Budget was 3 million.
Darn.
And then what do you think it made it in box office?
I bet it did pretty well.
I don't think it did well, only because it's a black movie. So.
Right, but I think a lot of people went to go see it because of The Preacher.
True.
Sure. Let's just say it broke even.
So you think it made 3 million?
Yeah, let's say it broke even.
I'm gonna say it made $7 million.
7 million. The exact price, $6.8 million. Lonnie was on it today.
Definitely.
Lonnie was on it today. You were disrespectful with the 800,000 though. You know what I'm saying?
You know what it was? Is that there was no big names. There was no big name stars, but
it is. That's the thing about it. That's what I'm saying. See, and that goes back to what we talked about last week. Kimberly Elise and Loretta Devine are both big name black actors, and
big name.
Nobody knows it in Hollywood. That was
I mean,
exact.
I know who they are, but what
but what I'm saying is, like if this has nothing to do with like me trying to say that you're racial, but I'm saying if this was an all black like group right here talking, none of them would have thought that, because in the black community, like, she's up there with the whatever, you know what I'm saying, but in Hollywood, she's as a whole, she isn't, which is why she technically isn't a big star. You know what I'm saying? Right. In the grand scheme of things, like, she's not gonna get the, let's just say, what's your girl? That played in Avengers, redhead. That played in Jojo Rabbit.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson, and I'm not. I love Scarlett. It has nothing to do with her person, but I'm saying like she is not heralded in Hollywood like she is. What I'm saying.
Sure.
I've
definitely seen this girl in movies. She was in Set It Off. She's in John Q. Like, I've seen her in movies, you know?
Right.
John Q. Right. Phenomenal movie. Phenomenal.
Right, but I'm saying, but as far as like her being the lead role, like, it's been like this. She was in Tyler Perry's Diary of a Mad Black Woman. But as far as like just like Hollywood roles, it's not a thing.
Right.
I'm saying it hasn't been a thing for her. Not everybody. I'm saying her specifically. But we'll get to that another time. Okay, cool.
What was the budget again? You said it was $3 million?
$3 million, and it made 6.8.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have a lot of extras. You got the jail. That's a whole set. You know, I guess that it definitely. I don't know why I was thinking it was going to be like a Shata's budget. You know, like it's just like a couple.
Nah, I'm sure a lot of it was probably like funded itself. I think it was like probably self-funded and then just distributed.
It seemed like The Preacher made the movie. That's why I had it in my mind. No,
for sure. But he has enough to afford it. If he could pay $3 million himself.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, for sure. So dope. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, that's it, man. Fast Color, The Hustle, Women Die or Lose. Those are actually 3 good choices. They were 3 good dynamics. And movies. I don't necessarily pick them because I necessarily think they're always good. I just try to think, pick ones that are interesting. So whether we like them or dislike them, I think it's as long as they're good conversation starters, that always works. So, Miss Vanessa, before we get out of here, do you have anything else that we should know about you in reference to? Are you promoting something? Do you got like a podcast, a website? You sell T-shirts? Anything to that degree?
Yeah, I have a podcast called Millennial Talk. We talk about controversial stuff.
Okay.
It's going to get picked back up next month. And then I also work for a production house out here called Fitboxer Studios. We actually just opened one of the largest green screen studios out here in Las Vegas. It's like the second biggest.
Gotcha.
So we're going to be opening that up to production houses globally when they come into Vegas. So that's something I'm launching right now. Gotcha. And then my documentary, it's called Change for the System. So you can look me up at v.b_productions and follow just stuff that I'm working on. Right now, it's just all my documentary stuff.
Gotcha. Dope.
Lonnie, I'm going to put your name there.
That's it. That's his desk name tag.
How about that? Does that work?
That works. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna cover up your whole screen. That's what.
Yeah, I'll put it on my hat.
Right. So we definitely got Lonnie Cox at Cox Comedy. Lonnie, do you got anything else coming up, man?
No, not at all. I'm gonna watch Hamilton later tonight, and that'll be it.
I need to finish Hamilton. I seen half of it. I gotta finish it.
My plants need more sun. That's what's going on for me right now.
Gotcha. My plants do too, but it's not natural sunlight. It's more of a.
For sure.
All right, and Mr. Henry, what you got, sir?
I don't have nothing out right now, but I'm working on that feature, The Red Land. So keep an eye out for that, everyone. It's very entertaining. That makes it sound like it's bad already.
Right.
But we're also going to come out with a comic book for it. So just keep an eye out for that.
DA's making Fast Color 2.
Super slow, super mellow.
Super slow, super mellow. No, I got you. Dope.
Hey, you know what? I just realized for the name Fast Color, the shit was very slow.
Right. But it was colorful.
It stuck true to one of the words in the title.
Right. Well, I'm gonna say this about Fast Color real quick. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm glad to find out that the sheriff was the dad, because I was ready to say, like, yo, are any of the fathers in this generation of people gonna show up in this? Like, it is literally like women a baby show up. And I'm just like, this can't keep going on. So I'm glad to know that he was still around to some degree.
Just real quick, Vanessa, Shania said hi.
Oh, hey, Shania, miss you, girl.
She's right here, but she don't want to get on camera.
It's all good.
Hey, Shania. All right, so Rudy Wilson, Willy Nilly, if you're nasty on Instagram, follow us at No Life Boys Productions. That's NOLIFEBOYZZZ. That's on Instagram and YouTube. And then, of course, I got rudycomedy.com that has my personal content as well as No Life Boys production content. We are Dumbass Film Students. We post this every single Thursday. Shout out to DA, who does all of our graphics, Jay, who does all of our editing, and Lonnie and our guests for always being here holding it down. Vanessa, appreciate you again. Looking forward to seeing all your work and putting the foster care system on the map, and letting us know what time it is. I'm be interested to see that. So good luck with that. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We're out. Peace.